Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu jami'an. Tonight I'd like to talk about something very simple. It's pertaining to people who love to befriend fitna. There is a custom that many people fall into, or a trend that people fall into, that people love to befriend fitna. And what I mean by that is that when there is something controversy, the thing which is controversy is something that is contradicting to the religion, whether it's from a belief or statement or action. We find some Muslims who claim to be a multazim, or Muslims who are upright, or see themselves as being upright, that they like or cling to fitna. They like to befriend fitna, meaning that when they see somebody say something controversy, or people debate, and some of the individuals who are debating, they are people of ignorance. You have some Muslim who claims to be Ahlul Sunnah, or people who claim to be Multazim, upright Muslim. They like to cling to these type of fitna. They like to jump into it. They like to befriend it. They like to join the groups, or join the sections, or join the people who are making the most noise and not trying to clarify the truth. Then we have some of the Muslims that they know what the truth is, but they are weak in their faith. And what I mean is that they are weak in their faith, but they know the truth. They have submitted to the truth, but they have see that there's some trials or some fallouts, or there's some calamities. And sometimes the people who are debating the truth against the truth, and debating about it, and uplifting falsehood, and up and holding down falsehood, that we find some of the people who claim to be on the truth, they like to befriend people like this, or visit places like this, or sit in circles like this, just to see what the people say. And I would say, woe to you, awru alayk, shame on you, because these are the things. This is the way how people fall off the religion. This is how people also fall into sins. And this is how people also have doubts as shubahat in their faith. And how some people of the haqq end up having shubahat in their faith is by them accompanying, sitting in the circles where there is shak and shubahat, just to be entertained, or just to see what the other side that's on falsehood, what are their proofs, or what they are saying, just to hear the debate. And this is how I seen me personally over the years, that Muslims who claim to be upon the truth uphold the truth, but they're weak in their knowledge, they're weak in their faith. Apparently, appearance, they look like they're on the sunnah, but behind closed door they're into sins, or they're weak in their faith behind closed doors. But when they sit in these type of cities, it just pull them away from what they were claiming to be on the truth, and bring them into falsehood. And this is something that many of the Muslims fall into, in particular Muslims who lack in knowledge. I don't care how pious they look outside from their appearance, how much they wear the cloak of Islam, or how much they practice Islam. We have some people who practice Islam Monday and Tuesday, they're not practicing it as they should be. So you find some of the Muslims that are weak, and they like these type of debates and arguments, and especially when the people who are debating and the people who are arguing about religious matters, there are people who are ignorant, or there are people who are upon falsehood. And the ones say, well, I'm going to see what they have to say. this is not the correct minhaj. This is not the correct methodology. Rather yet, this is in the opposition of the people with Sunnah, because if you look at some of the narrations about Al-Masih ad-Dajjal, right? You even can see in some of the narrations about the Masih ad-Dajjal that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you hear that the Dajjal is in a place, that you go the opposite way, right? You go the opposite way. Why? Because in this narrations, or these narrations let you know, even if you think or you have strong iman, on that day when you meet the Dajjal, he would test your faith. He will make you doubt your faith, right? Now this is the Prophet talking about somebody who has strong iman, somebody who has strong beliefs, right? What happened with them when they meet the Dajjal, right? They will be trialed. Now think about this example now. You're Muslim, you live in a Western society, you live in the United States, and you live in a place where there is not a lot of Islamic knowledge, meaning that there are not institutes of Islamic knowledge. You might have a masjid, you might read a book on your own, you might visit the local masjid or sit in a local lecture here and there. That does not make you an individual who is qualified to say, hey man, I could go sit in something in the debates and I can make a judgment and I can figure out on my own what sound good and what doesn't sound good, what is right and what is not right. We have a lot of Muslims that this is how, in the United States, this is how they practice their faith. They read something, they feel confident about what they read, but they might not know that topic. They read something or hear something and they might feel confident that about that subject, they know it. And in reality, they don't know the subject. All right? You read it one time in a book, you heard one lecture about it. That doesn't mean that you know that subject or master that subject. Because many subjects in Islam, in the religious, on a intellectual way, in the Islamic intellectual way or Islamic learning way, as in being a student of knowledge or being a scholar, that particular one topic, it's not that easy. Maybe the person who writes in the book, he just writes in the book for the one who is not proficient in that subject. He write it, he give him the information so he's able to get a basic foundation. Doesn't mean that he mastered, the person reading it, he's mastering that subject. Right? And I'll give you many examples of that, even in fiqh. To give you examples. For example, the hadith about wiping over your socks on top, right? This is authentic. But there is a opinion that has proofs that even wiping the bottom of your socks, it is permissible. There is a proof. There is a opinion in fiqh. They have some proofs. It's not strong, but they have some proofs. It's not strong that even wiping under your socks is permissible, right? I'm just giving you an example, right? So a person who read in the book this one thing, he didn't study the whole subject. Now, imagine now we're talking about the Muslims' beliefs, our articles of faith, our aqidah now. All right? You read it in something in the book about aqidah. All right? And you got just the person who writes the book, usually when an author authors a book, he puts in the book something in a way for a layman, when he goes to that subject, he's able to get the surface understanding. It doesn't mean that person or that author put every detailed thing about that subject or topic in the book. All right? You will get the full understanding when you study things in Islam on a college level, right? You will get the full understanding, right? And depending on how far you go far in the Islamic field of knowledge, how far and how deep you go, right? But basic books, most of them give you surface knowledge. So if you're Muslim and you read a few books here and there, about Aqidah, about Tawheed, it doesn't mean that you're able now to sit and with somebody who is deviant, Sufi, maybe some Sufi guy. He might tell you Allah fi kulli makan. Allah is everywhere. Allah is everywhere. Allah is in my heart. He might say that Allah, He exists without a place. This is not the creed of Ahlul Sunnah, but they're Muslims who believe in this, and they to themselves they sound very authentic if you hear them speak and you have no knowledge, right? So if you're a Muslim, for example, and you're just the average Muslim, right? And you sit down, you read a book on Aqidah, right? Do you think now you're qualified now to go in a debate, to debate every individual Muslim from every sect of Islam and able to debate them now about religion or about their beliefs? That doesn't make you equipped. It doesn't make you equipped. You know, I have seen Muslims personally who felt they were able to take up these type of challenges in debates and arguments or sit inside of them, these type of arguments, debates, and they feel inside their heart, oh, they really believe in Allah, they really believe in Islam. And I seen people go to this type of debates and arguments, and I see them lose their faith. They come out weakened in their faith. I see them with my own eyes become weak in their faith, or even left the religion, right? Because they are weak in their faith and they didn't understand the topic that they was talking about. They only had a surface understanding of it. Because even sometimes a deviant Muslim who's deviant in his beliefs, he might have knowledge and he knows how to twist up meanings of words and things and explanation. So you think that, hey man, especially in the Salafi community, this is a lot in the Salafi community. Some might say, hey man, I'm Salafi. Man, I read this book by Sheikh Muhammad Wahab. Khalas. I understand Aqidah now. You don't understand nothing about Aqidah. I understand Tawheed. You understand nothing about Tawheed, because even Sheikh Muhammad Wahab, rahimahullah, majority of his writings on Tawheed and Aqidah is basic. Right? It's a very good introduction into the topic. Right? It's very good introductions into the topics. Does it mean now you're master that field of learning about Aqidah or Tawheed, that you're master, you learn everything about it just from reading that particular sheikh or scholar, Sheikh Muhammad Wahab's book? You know, and then I have Muslims, I know brothers and sisters who read these books, but they themselves still don't understand the topic. You know, in Islam, reading books doesn't replace being learnt from somebody who is learnt. All right. So when you put yourself in a position, I read this, I feel confidence about this now. Let me go sit in this debate and let me go in debate or sit in these type of debates where people inside the debate, they have degrees and masters in their fields of batil. They have degrees and masters in their batil. And they understand each sect or each group, different opinions, and they know how to play words and play around. And if you think because, hey man, I have a strong iman, I could go and sit there and debate or listen to the debate and I'm good. No, you're gonna get a lot of shock. You're gonna get a lot of doubts. You're gonna have a lot of doubts. You know, but in the Western world, in America, there is a culture from us in the Western world, right? Is that, especially you find that in the academic field, that because I went to a class or I took a lecture or I've been to college or I read a subject or I read a book of a subject, that I know now this field. This is a lot of the attitudes come from Westerners, especially Americans and Westerners, you know. And many of us probably met people like that, you know, non-Muslims. They would say, oh, I know about Islam. And you ask them how, oh, I took a course in college or I read this particular book. And then when you start talking about Islam, they really don't know too much about Islam. What they know about Islam is based upon what the media say, the government say, the people who spread Islamic phobia say, right? So if they say understand religion because they read a book, now what about us Muslims? We say, okay, we understand these topics because we read this book. Reading books is not how you confirm knowledge. Brother Abu Samiya Sadiq Al-Kamil, I don't know what you're talking about. I see you posting, you're commenting a lot. You said, why does the position or the highlighting of unethical behaviors in Islamic beliefs has to be viewed as debates or arguments? But I get it, no one shouldn't address the unethical behaviors of the Salafi or call them out, but it's okay to call others out. That has nothing to do with what I'm saying. All right. That has nothing to do with what I'm saying. I follow the Jaffa school of thought, then I know exactly where it is your understanding is coming from. You're a Shiite. Fetch fitness being silenced in front of the unjust. It's funny that when a certain group are calling out on their unethical actions and their Islamic beliefs, but when everyone say a Shiite is not a Muslim and they are misguided, everyone agrees. I'm not surprised. That has nothing to say with what I'm talking about, you know. And everything it's very important. Abu Sumayya as Sadiq Kamil or Kamal, for proper way to pronounce your name, Kamal. It's very important that when people are speaking about topics, that you try to do your best to stay on that topic. Nothing here is talk about Shia beliefs or arguments and debates and things like that. Abu Samir, this is the issue. You know, the issue there's many people try to confirm their beliefs by who wins an argument and debate. And then when you look at the people who are debating the arguments, right? In some cases, none of them are even qualified to talk about the subject. None of them, especially when you see on social media, none of the people who are debating in most cases, none of them are even qualified to talk about the subject. All of them are they're debating about their convictions, right? What they conceive to be true according to their heart. What do they think in their heart and they desire? What they conceive what is to be true. That's what they're debating. They're debating how much they devoted. Your devotion you put into whatever you believe in. You're debating somebody about your belief according to your feelings, not according to what is true or not true. Majority of people who debate and argue, especially on Facebook and social media, none of them are qualified. Majority of the case, people are arguing and debating about their convictions of their beliefs. That's all they are debating about. Most debates on Facebook are Muslims debating about their convictions. That's all it's about. Not about haq, not about what the truth is, because many of us don't know how to debate, and many of us do not understand what is proofs and what is evidence and what the religion really say. Many of us are debating things. We bring in debates, things based upon hearsay, what we feel, not what is true, what we feel what is true. I could feel something is true and it's not true. I could feel that something is true is not true. There's a sister a few days ago. She was on Facebook and she wrote an article about polygamy, right? And she was saying in an article, and this woman, she even graduated Islamic college. And I read some of the article, and she's trying to say about the man must tell the man must tell the first wife about the second wife, right? And she tried to say Sheikh bin Baz said this. And she put the article, the link to the Sheikh's fatwa in Arabic. I went and read it. I said the Sheikh didn't say it like that. Because I understand Arabic, I looked to the Sheikh. So to her perception, she's explaining something by somebody else with her biases. This is what people do in debates also. People do the same thing in debates. They bring up things, it could be an ayat in Quran, a verse in Quran, and they try to explain the ayat in Quran not according to what it's mean, what is used in Islamic law for, what is used in Islamic fiqh for, what does it mean? They bring this and they have some type of bias of something. They're going to say, this is the proof. And they're going to explain the ayat according to their bias. That's what people do in debates and arguments. That's what people do on Facebook in debates and arguments. People don't debate and argue according to Kitab and Sunnah. People don't debate and argue according to what the text means, because many people don't understand what the text means on Facebook. Many people on Facebook who argue about religion, many of them don't even have the basic tools to be an Islamic jurisprudence themselves. They don't have the basic tools to even understand what is the verses in the Quran, what they mean. They don't even know usul al-tafsir. what these things mean, what these things are in reference for. Many people use the wrong proofs and evidence. Now, for people who have doubts and they like to sit in these type of debates and arguments and listen in, many times when individuals do this, because you kind of got me off my topic, Abu Sumaya, you got me off my topic. Many people who go to these type of debates and listen in, many of them they're trial with their religion. That is my main focus here. Many of them become trial in the religion. They might feel with their convictions in their heart, but might not be the reality of the situation. They might be convinced in their heart that I'm strong Muslim. I have knowledge. I have strong They might be convinced in their heart, but in reality, they are like 1 foot from abandoning religion. Conjunctive behavior. They might tell themselves that they're strong Muslim, but what's going on in their psyche? The reason why they want to sit in the debate because they themselves have some doubts. There's some things that they don't understand or don't know or don't like or misunderstand themselves or take people's behavior as meaning this is what the religion say. They might have doubts within themselves or in something, and when they go to those type of debates and the person who's debating is ignorant or deviant or have strong convictions of their misunderstanding of religion, when they start speaking, that person who felt that he was strong, his faith was strong, he was convinced, when he go and sit, he start having now shock and doubts. There's a lot of that on Facebook. Start having shock, start having doubts. I give you something how to measure yourself. If you shouldn't go to these type of debates and argument with people who are deviant, arguing against the truth. If you do not understand the Quran and the language it was revealed in, this is a sign you're not built for no arguing, debating to pick who is right and who is wrong. You're not fit for that. Rather yet, if you sit in these type of debates or talks, and really there's no debating, one person bringing a side of falsehood, and you sit in there, you're going to have doubts in your faith. You're going to have shock in your faith. How you think people, you ever like see scholars Adam, even who we have in Islam, some people who are Adam, who was Alim, and they sat with some people who were deviant or debated with them, and they left off the truth and follows those deviant people's way. There's many examples that Imam Ghazali rahimahullah, he is very famous for this. All right, but he didn't die upon these type of beliefs. Imam Ghazali was Sufi. His aqidah was off, even though he was an alim. But he wasn't like that in the beginning. It's from debating. And then he fell into shock. And then once he died, before he died, he repented. He turned from those ways. Now, if this person's an alim, and he's debating these type of people, so what about us on Facebook and the internet who have no knowledge, who don't understand the religion, who don't even understand the Quran? We don't even understand the Quran. If you don't understand the Quran in the Arabic language, then you don't understand the religion. I don't care how many books you read in English, how many times you read Usul al-Thalatha, how many times you read Kitab al-Tawheed, how many times you sat on the durus with somebody, some sheikh or some student of knowledge, or somebody pretending to be a student of knowledge. It doesn't matter. That doesn't make you qualified. And a lot of times when we sit in these type of debates and we sit in these type of arguments and we go in there to be entertained, you'll find I'm going there to be entertained. I want to be entertained now. Then when you start listening, you're going to say, oh man, this deviant guy, he just made a point, but it makes sense. But you don't understand the original text. You don't understand what is proofs and evidence. The guy might have just the gift to talk. He might have the gift to gab. And because he has the gift to gab, he can make volatile falsehood sound sweet. This is how many of people get turned off. This is how many people get turned astray or go astray or become astray. Better way to put it. Sometimes some of us, we like to befriend fitna. This is not good. We like trials, and fitna is very entertaining to us. And this is a very bad trait to have, even as a Muslim. Is a bad trait to have, to enjoy and be entertained by fitna. This is a very bad trait, and this type of trait will lead you to become misguided because you like to sit and listen to fitna and befriend fitna. Then you will be overcome by the fitna. And some of us are overcome by the fitna and don't even know it. You know, don't know it. And I'll end with that. Be very mindful. Be very mindful about befriending fitna.